they're doing construction outside, so I got to kind of make this quick. But welcome back to Let's Play Trading GameStop. And today, you can see from the description of the video, I want to talk kind of about staying the course. And I'm thinking about getting a second camera. What do you guys think? I'm thinking about having like a different angle camera behind me so that it keeps flipping between the two angles. You think that would be cool? I think that would be cool. Try to add a little production value here. Anyway, so yesterday was a particularly kind of frustrating situation, but I want to discuss my strategy and why I'm sticking, why I think I still did the right thing, even though I would have made more money in a different way. And I had two ideas yesterday about making money that I was kind of lingering back and forth with. So, for the last while, I have been long this put spread in GameStop. And if you don't know what a put spread is, it's an options trade where you buy one option and sell another so that you are trying to take advantage of, well, it's a vertical put spread. So I'm trading options in the same month at different prices. So if we look on the screen here, and I switch this to a screen that shows how many of each option I have. So I have custom layouts here, and under Dave 1 here, it shows on the right side here how many options I'm long or short at different prices. So you can see there's numbers here, all these numbers on the screen, but this row of numbers here that says strike. There's one that says 125 and one that says 120. And you can see I own 14 of the 125s, and I'm short 12 of the 120s and 2 of the 119s. So what this means is that I'm long, well, we call this being long a put vertical. I'm kind of looking to the side because I have a second screen that shows the stuff that I'm pressing with the pointer, that I'm illustrating with the pointer here. Anyway, so what this is these are different strike prices. Stock right now is 127. You can see it up here. So if at the end of a certain period of time, the time here is 21 days. If at the end of 21 days, the stock is below this number 120 here, then I'm going to make the amount of money between these two prices. That's what the spread means. I bought this 125 strike, I sold the 120 strike. So if the stock is below, it could be right on 120 or it could be below 120. When these options expire, then I will collect the difference between them. And the difference between them is 5 points, right? You can see that, 125 and 120. Now, the price that I have to pay to put this spread on is somewhere less than 5 points, right? That makes sense too. And the price I paid for this was 2.2. So that means that if the most I could lose is 2.2, because that's what I paid for it. If the stock goes out above 125, I make nothing. If the stock expires exactly 2.2 less than 125, right? So 125 minus 2.2, right, would be 122.8. So I will break even if the stock ends at 122.8 and I do nothing before expiration. The rest of the way down from 122.8 to 120 would be my profit on this whole thing, which would be 5 minus 2.2, right, which is 2.8. So a little bit over doubling my money on this trade. And so that's the trade we have on. And this is what happened yesterday. The stock, right at the beginning of the trading day, went all the way down from 130 to 120. I think it was 70, something like that. It says 120.47. So it basically it rolled all the way down through to make me almost 100% profitable if it stayed there by expiration, right? And now another thing about this spread trade that we had on is if today the stock goes to 120, you can't collect that 5 points between the two because there's still time left, and between now and when these options expire, it could go back up again. So you can't sell this thing out for $5 today. The only way you could sell this out for anywhere close to $5 today is if the stock went to like way lower. Like if it went to 60 today, right? Then you could sell this spread out for probably like something like 480 today. But if the stock just goes to 120, okay, now the spread's going to be trading something like $3, let's say. And the way options work is that this is a put spread here. It's on the right side on this illustration, and the other side here is the call side. And calls are kind of the opposite of puts. These are bets that the stock's going to go up, or it gives you the right to buy the stock at whatever price the strike is, whereas the puts give you the right to sell the stock. But in this context, you don't need to know all that. All you need to know is that this spread makes it so that I can collect $5 if the stock's below 120 on expiration. However, buying a put spread here is the same thing as selling a call spread here. And so if you were to actually do the math of the pricing, when I'm buying this put spread here, paying 220, I'm actually would be the exact same thing if I went on the other side over here and sold the call spread at 280. They're inverse of each other in relation to the $5 in between the strikes. And people get really confused about that. And I understand why people get confused about options because it's confusing, right? It's not. It's like many things in life where like you aren't just born with understanding this number stuff. You have to kind of work at it a little bit and practice it a little bit. But anyway, what happened yesterday is this went all the way down, and on my even though it didn't make it worth $5 way down here, it made it more valuable than it was, and thus, if I had just closed the trade down here, I would have profited a bunch of money yesterday. Instead, I just didn't do anything, and it went all the way back up, and any money that I'd made yesterday just disappeared, right? And so I ended the day with the same amount of money I started it with. And the question is why am I okay with that? Well, the reason I'm okay with that is because I made a plan ahead of time, and certainly traders change their plans. There's nothing wrong with changing your plan at some points, but there's 20 days, 22 days, actually 21 days as of today left. You can see that right here before the expiration on this trade, and I'm committed to the fact that I believe the stock's going to be below 120 on expiration, and so I feel that there will be plenty of time for this to go back down and stay down. But still, at the time, it's emotional because money is emotional. Money's a big thing in our world, and having more money all of a sudden and then having it just kind of evaporate is a bummer, right? But that is the plan I had, that even if it goes back up a little bit, I'm just going to leave my position because I'm confident that it's going to go below 120 and farther than that by the end of this period of time. And I'm going to stick to that. And I'm not going to let my emotions of the moment, like, oh, wow, I made some money. Because as I said, even down here, I wasn't getting the full $5 for it. If I do wait and it goes much lower and stays down, then this trade will net me more than it had made me yesterday when it briefly touched off 120 and a half. There's that. Now, the second kind of thing that was kind of in my mind and kind of bugging me, some people say trading is you're either very bored, you're very frightened, or you're very frustrated. Those are the only three emotions in the trading world, and there's some truth to that. Yesterday, I was looking at these VIX products, and there sometimes a lot of times actually, VIX products, there's a spike, they go way up, and then the feeling of fear passes, and everything goes back down again. Well, this kind of spike we've been in over the last few days has lasted longer than that, and thus it hasn't been that easy, right? And if we look at the chart here, we can see this is UVXY. It stayed up, right? It doesn't usually do this. It usually goes right back down. It stayed up for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever sessions. I think that's more. It's less than I'm counting. Let's just call it 3 sessions so far, or 4, and it hasn't gone back down. Now it will eventually just go straight down, but we don't know how long eventually is. Statistically speaking, eventually is usually like 1 day, like 24 hours. But it's been staying up for a while, for a little bit longer than that now, and I guess to evaluate how fast it's going to go down, you have to kind of try to get a handle on why it went up in the first place. And in this case, it went up in the first place because the market's just been trending lower. The markets don't usually trend lower; they usually trend higher. But market's been trending lower. You can see though in the last couple of days, it's tried to kind of reverse that trend by having some up moments, but it hasn't been able to kind of turn that corner and make higher highs here. You can just see the price action right here on the screen. But most of the time with the VIX, it seems so easy, right? Because this UVXY pops up and you could buy a put spread like the one I have on in GameStop, and in one day you just double your money and boom, and then you take it off. But in this case, my experience with trading the VIX gave me a clue that maybe it wasn't going to go right back down this time, and I didn't want to commit, get out of my GameStop position and jump into a position in UVXY that putting my eggs in that basket, and then it just goes higher or sideways. Now, what you could do, and what I could do, I think, which would have a much higher probability of success, is to put some sort of trade on UVXY like 2 weeks out, right? Saying, okay, it's going to be below 14 again in 2 weeks, or 15. And the likelihood of that is very, very high. I would say 90%. So that might be something to consider. But in my mind, it's like, well, I'm kind of committed to this GameStop position. Do I want to jump out of that and jump into something else? Because you can find yourself trading to just not commit to anything and just kind of jump out of this. And I know that kind of Murphy's Law is if I jumped out of GameStop, then tomorrow GameStop will go to 100 and my trade would have been successful. And meanwhile, now I'm in UVXY and UVXY is going up or sideways or something. So it's very easy to psych yourself out trading and to kind of flip-flop and get your mind all tangled so that you just don't know what's going on or what you want to do, and you start losing money and it's rough. So, I've decided, at least for now, to kind of stay in the course in GameStop here. If we look at the chart, it has been trending lower, and yes, it did come back yesterday, but we're still kind of in a downtrend here, and it's not unreasonable to think that we can continue lower from here. So we'll see what happens. There's no way of knowing what will happen trading. This could be the low right there, that 120.5, and it could skyrocket to 180 tomorrow. We just don't know. But for the moment, I'm just going to stay committed to the position I have on. The thing is if it does go back to 120 today, I'm more and more tempted to do something, right? Maybe I have 14 spreads on. Maybe you sell 2 spreads out or something, just so that you're doing something. But we'll have to wait and see on that. Anyway, so that's the update for today. That's my crazy trader thinking, and I appreciate you checking it out and watching. And I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for checking it out. We'll see you next time.